This is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Hello, welcome. Hi, Jim Toth. How are you?
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to this terrific Tuesday. We're taking Tuesdays back. People down on Tuesday, they think it's boring. It's not. It's exciting.
We're bringing it back.
Bringing Tuesday back.
And
you got movie night, you got Taco Tuesday, you got Tequila Tuesday.
You couldn't have two cooler dudes to bring Tuesday back.
Oh, that's what the kids aren't saying.
Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method
moms
Car.
think we're cool.
That's right. Hey, and that's all that counts at the end of the day. Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. Neal Pionk has been selected to the U.S. Men's Olympic Orientation Camp.
44 players invited, and he's one of them, along with
Connor Hellebuck.
Connor Hellebuck.
We'll get into
Those
that.
were givens, but I think this would surprise. You're not. You called this. You thought he might be in the consideration.
Thought so, for sure.
But I think a lot of Jets Nation might be a little surprised that he got the invite, but we're not. I think that's he's earned it.
Yeah, but we're very happy to welcome onto the show former Winnipeg Jets captain Andrew Ladd. Hey, Andrew, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good, Andrew.
Fantastic.
Good to have you on. Thanks for doing this today. How are you? No, seriously, how are you? How you been?
I'm great, man. We're out in Kelowna, so we've been fire free, and it's been a good summer.
Well, you've been lucky then, you guys. I mean, you know that you have had horrible wildfires out there. So what's on the agenda? What's been part of Andrew Ladd's life for the last little bit?
Oh man, I'm busy. So we got lots going on with our foundation, with 1616.org. I got 3 kids in hockey, so 12, 11, and 9. So I'm coaching all of them, which takes up, as you guys know, I'm sure, a lot of time, and definitely have a newfound respect for all the prep it takes to coach and be on the ice that much. And then I'm actually doing executive performance coaching with a bunch of professional athletes. So something that actually Blake Wheeler just joined our firm as well. So I'm the director of athletes and teams for a company called Novus Global. So I got lots going on, man. I think I'm busier now than when I was playing.
I was gonna say you might have to start playing again to slow down.
Right. That thought has crossed my mind, but my body says otherwise.
We had Winnipeg or former Winnipeg Jet captain Blake Wheeler on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about doing some work with you as well. What's it like sort of getting into this aspect of a role? You've always mostly been a leader, a captain. I remember your WHL days as well. Is this sort of the same thing with your leadership qualities?
Yeah, I don't think you've ever, in leadership, there's ever an end to that road. So it's kind of a constant process and growth, and something that was apparent to me even throughout my NHL career. So I think being able to help fast track that for a lot of athletes right now that are navigating the different just the different challenges it takes to be a leader. That's kind of a never-ending journey. So I love being involved in the conversation. I love helping guide and helping athletes through that conversation and really seeing the effect that it has on them, and then obviously the impact on the people around them as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming up on 15 years since the team relocated from Atlanta over here into Winnipeg. And, everybody knows you were the first guy here in Winnipeg. It was how many days was it after the team officially moved? You were over here. You were helping out.
I think you were here 4 days after. Like you landed after May 31st, like 4 days in, Andrew. Do you remember that day?
I do, yeah. I remember I had a conversation with my agent, and it was really like, hey, let's go check it out. Obviously meet. I knew Chevy a little bit, but connect with Mark Chipman and really see what Winnipeg was all about, and just have a little taste that I could actually even just take that and send it out to the guys, because it happened so fast, man. It was such a weird experience, because one day, hey, we were staying in Atlanta, and then it was out of nowhere, hey, it pops up on the ticker that we're moving to Winnipeg. So it just seemed like the right thing to do at that time, just to kind of start to get the lay of the land. I was restricted free agent at that time, so there was a lot of questions in terms of where we were going, the plan, and it was, once I got there, it was pretty easy to see that we were in good hands with Chipper and Chevy, and I liked that the direction that they were headed, and I wanted to be a part of that.
Who asked the most questions, and what was the most frequent question you got from some of your teammates?
Yeah, I think there was like a lot of it was just like the logistical stuff. So like, hey, where do we, where can we live? Like, what's the city like? There's the organizational aspect. Like, what's that going to be like? And like I said, my familiarity with Chevy in Chicago, and understanding he had been through the transition there and how they had operated at a very high level. It was a first class organization. Knowing, I was able to explain maybe some of the differences that were going to happen, the changes that were going to happen from Atlanta to Winnipeg, and obviously the energy and the excitement of the town at that time was extremely high. So it was fun to pass along that stuff.
Yeah, maybe we don't talk about it, but you almost immediately committed to the city. I mean, you signed that 5-year contract. I mean, you mentioned your RFA. It was in July of 2011. And as you said, I mean, you're still working out the logistics at that point. So how did that contract come about? Because, I mean, 5 years at that point with so much, still unknown. I mean, it was a pretty big commitment.
Yeah. And like I said, Chevy was a big part, in my trust in him and my knowledge of what he had done to help in Chicago was a big factor in that. And then I think the other thing was just the challenge, right? I had, at that point, I had won a couple Stanley Cups in a few, two obviously different markets in Carolina and Chicago. And I think the challenge of going to a Canadian city and having a clean slate with an organization and being a part of like the kind of leadership conversation of like, hey, we get to kind of set the tone for this organization, was something that I was really interested in. So I think all those different factors, and being able to be a part of, the start of that was really enticing to me, and the comfort level of once I got to Winnipeg and check out the city and the different aspects, and just the excitement, right? The excitement of playing in a Canadian city in front of a ruckus crowd every night was a pretty enticing thing at that point.
How do you look back on your time in Winnipeg, given that you'd won a couple cups, Andrew? You came in under a move of location. You're the captain, and you're trying to get that winning pedigree into what was a developing team at the time. Now that you're sort of retired, and you look back at your cups, you look back at your time in New York and how it ended in Arizona and all that. How do you look back at your time in Winnipeg?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think you look back at different chapters and the different challenges that were presented and the opportunities that were presented. And it was such an interesting time for me and my family personally. Like, I was a young husband at that time, and we obviously had kids while we were there. So the idea of like starting to raise a family and learn what it was like to be a husband and a father while playing in the NHL and leading an organization, there was a lot of different challenges that, it's nice to be like, hey, like I wish I knew now what when I was there, probably would have helped, but that's kind of all part of the journey. And so I look back fondly on our time there and what we were able to, the foundation that we were able to really build there, the relationships that we had. We had a really close group of players and a lot of guys that were in very similar situations where they were young leaders and figuring out, where they.
Oh, did we lose Andrew there?
We might have lost him.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, sorry. Just finish that thought. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So I think it's, that was like the personal side. And when you start a family, I think there's always memories and like the different support we had within that community. And then from the hockey standpoint, just the excitement and being able to play in front of that crowd and some of the different moments like the opening game and making the playoffs and the whiteout and all those different things I look back as, really fond memories for me.
And I don't know if you remember, you did a lot more than just normal captains. Like I remember talking to you in a hallway in that first year, and you were actually helping, like letting them know that, you had to have a hot meal here and stuff. Like there was a lot of transition that first year that I think you went above and beyond what normal captains have to do.
Yeah, I think that was part of the clean slate. And I mean, there's a different standard from an AHL team to an NHL team, and there's different expectations, and you're dealing with, the different egos. So people like to say, no, even though we don't want egos, but like, hey, it's professional sports. There's a lot of egos. You're dealing with different things, and there's expectations that are built up. So I had a lot of experience, obviously in different organizations that had success. And I think that's one thing with Chevy and Chipper is like they were really hungry for, hey, like what was your experience like in those places? Why was it enjoyable to play there? Like what made those places as successful, and how did they set the standard? So I enjoy being a part of, like, that was the fun part of helping co-create that with them and set the standard that they have now.
How do you look back on how you left, Andrew? Because I think you wanted a contract, and I don't know if you wanted to leave or not. Obviously, I think you wanted to stay. But how did it all play out, and how do you look back on that now? Same kind of thing. I think you always look back and be like, okay, like there's things I would have done differently now. Like I think I would have openly communicated directly with Chevy and Chipper. I think at that time I kind of just left it to my agent to handle. So that's probably one thing I would have done differently. Like I would have loved to stay. The year before, I pretty much played the whole year with my torn, like I had sports hernia on both sides. So I didn't practice for the last half of that year, and had surgery that summer and came back. And obviously, you're wanting to have a really good start, and you want them to commit to you. I think they were interested early on, and we decided to wait. And then I didn't have a great start. So, looking back, I think, would I have liked it to work out differently? Yeah. I would love to have stayed and had success there and been a part of their playoff runs. But that is also, like, I wouldn't change anything, because there's a lot of things that happened from that point on that have led to the person I am right now, and the leader I am, and all the different challenges I face beyond there. So, that's it is one of the things when you look back on your career. I think you can really reflect on everything that didn't go right, or you can say, hey, that like those different things made me figure out those challenges and who I am today, which I definitely look back on kind of how it ended as part of that. Yeah,
and Andrew, we're going to have you back on in early September, on September 2nd. You're going to have you back on the show, and we're going to get really into the Lad Foundation, the Buffalo mindset, and all that. I'm really looking forward to having you back on in early September. We can really dig into 1616.org and all that stuff. So appreciate you coming on the show, and take care. Just great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys, and look forward to talking to you in September.
Yeah, and all the good work you're doing with your charities. They're really great having you back on the show, Andrew, and I know a lot of Winnipeggers are waiting to hear from you, so thanks for doing this, and we'll talk to you again in a month.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Andrew Ladd there.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the conversation we just had with Andrew? 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868.
Man, he is busy.
Yeah. And I understated his impact in bringing this franchise. He wasn't a part of the deals and bringing the Thrashers over here, but the behind the scenes stuff.
There were a couple times where he was literally like going, "Hey, this is how things work."
Yeah,
and not like negatively, like positively going, "Hey, I'm helping here." And
let's take a break. Let's come back on the other side. Yeah, want to hear your thoughts. 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868. Got time for that as well. Neal Pionk invited to Olympic men's camp. Kyle Connor and Connor Hellebuck, both givens. But does this one surprise you that Neal Pionk is at least getting a look at orientation camp in the U.S.? Let us know. 204-780-6868. We'll be right back. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. For gourmet pizza and pasta, bring the team to Boston Pizza. Let's squeeze some text messages we got about what Andrew Ladd. Just finished up a conversation. He's going to be back September 2nd, and we're going to get into his foundation work and his charities in 1616.org and the Buffalo mindset. If you're wondering what all that is, well, then stick around for September 2nd, and looking forward to having him back on the show. Justin says, ask Ladd if he talks to Big Buff at all during retirement. Well, maybe that's a conversation for another time.
But I think they do. I think he goes to he's got a sturgeon fishing charity event where a bunch of players come in. The last story I heard about Bufflin and Ladd was Ladd telling a story to somebody about he invited Buff and he called him like 6 times and are you coming? Are you coming? Are you coming? Because an NHL player gets on a boat and they go with some people who bought boats as part of the charity to go sturgeon fishing. And this was a couple of years ago, but I heard he called and never knew. So he didn't advertise them at all or whatever. And they all meet at the dock. Like they have a dinner that night, and then the next morning they all meet at the dock, and all the people who bought boats go on with the different NHL players. And Buff just showed up at the boat, which is that. No, I don't. That's what I heard, or somebody told me Andrew was telling that story that
I think I heard that
just showed up out of the blue.
Daniel says, "Cool interview. Still in my Ladd sweater. Nice to hear what's going on in his life." Dom says, "Great interview, guys. Nice to hear from Andrew." This texter says, "Hey, great hearing from Ladd as well." And Neal says, "Andrew is a great player. His character speaks volumes." And one more from Randy here says, "My son bought an Andrew Ladd custom-made suit from Value Village when he was here, tagged with his name, named by a Chicago tailor. Guess his wife donated it. Cool, Andrew Ladd memento," or somebody donated it. Who knows? Thanks for that.
There's a couple things about Andrew that I remember, and one of them is that, so I covered him in the Western Hockey League. Like one of the big series that I always covered was the Calgary Hitmen with Ladd and Ryan Getzlaf.
Yeah.
Would always go at it with Eric Fair and Ryan Stone and the guys in Brandon.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Reeves was there, I believe, I forget. But that was a big rivalry for a couple of years because those are two of the top teams. And I remember getting to know him then and covering him in the Western Hockey League. And then he was hilarious to be around. Like there was times where I'd be like, "Does anything surprise you anymore at this point of your career?" And he would go look at me and go, "Yeah, that you still have a job." And things like that. And it was, and I would always say, and anytime I'd run his interviews when I was doing the CJOB Sports Show, I'd be like, "And the dance continues between Andrew Ladd and myself." But like when he was talking about that hernia, maybe some people forget this, but I remember he had been out for a long time. But he had started to skate on his own, but was nowhere near, like a month away from still playing. And Paul Maurice had told the guys after a game they'd been losing and not playing well that he said, "Don't bother, come ready to skate tomorrow."
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, out of the blue, they get out on the ice with no sticks or pucks or whatever, and they just spent a good, I don't know how long, it was about an hour or more, just bag skating, up and down, up and down. And Andrew Ladd was out there. And then Andrew Ladd came in that morning for his skate on his own because he was still injured and said, "Hey, Paul, I hear that you are going to skate the guys today. I'm their captain. I should be out there with them." And went out there, and then he still wasn't at practice for a couple of weeks after that. Mm-hmm. But that's the kind of leader he was. He's like, if these guys are going to get quote unquote punished, even though I'm not playing and haven't for months, I got to be there with them.
So this was actually, I actually found some quotes. It was April 9, 2014. The team was out of the playoffs and all that. And here was the quote about Andrew Ladd being out there in an orange non-contact jersey. His legs were good, and it was a good day for him to be out there, Maurice said. "I'm not sure he's playing the final 2 games. Pretty sure he's not." And Ladd said, "I think as the captain of this team, when something like this happens, you want to be out there with your teammates. I've had a few over my career. It's been a while, but good for the soul, I guess," about the bag skates. So.
And that's just what I heard he did, and then we'd always have a good back and forth and stuff. But
I think Paul Maurice spoke about that specifically. Actually, I think.
Well, that's leadership, right? Like, and those are the things that if it wasn't an open practice, you'd never hear about. But that's what galvanizes a team, and it's no doubt that he's into leadership role and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, he's. Also, I take it like a little. I never found him arrogant, but I found like him and Wheeler. They talk a little like if I could do things differently, right?
Yeah.
And I totally get that. Like we sit here and we judge these guys in the National Hockey League, and we forget that they're growing up, they're learning things in their own and stuff. But everything's pretty sweet in their life, right? And I just thought he was phenomenal today. I thought he was really down to earth and spoke well. And I've always had a good relationship with Andrew, and it was great having him on.
Gary said, make no mistake. We'll squeeze a couple more text messages in here. Gary says, make no mistake, Lad Wheeler and many vets helped build what is here today. Ownership and even Chevy had a lot to learn about running an NHL franchise. Let's get one more here. David says, will we ever see the Jets raise Lad Wheeler and Buff's number in the rafters? Hey, if you're actually wondering about that, we discussed that very topic today on the exclusive portion of the podcast. So go download the podcast wherever you find your podcasts. That's what we talk about today. What does it take for a player to get his jersey retired?
We talked a little bit about this on the podcast, but I didn't get your reaction. Yeah. The way, like, nobody does not want to see 33 back in this building, and nobody doesn't want to see that jersey up in the rafters.
Right. We'll just see whenever he shows up on the Jumbotron, the biggest cheer.
And I think time will pass, bygones will be bygones, and it'll happen. But what's always lost in how loved Dustin Byfuglien was is the fashion in which he left this team. Now, Andrew talked about I should have had better communication, and I should have said, personally, I want to stay. Can we work this out? But you let your agent do the work. You don't want to get too involved. And I get that at the time. Like, that's what you pay your agent for, and you don't want to get personal because I think the way he talks about Cheveldayoff and Chipman, they have a personal relationship. And so I understand when business gets involved, you let your agent do it.
Yeah. Because it's not a personal thing. It's not an emotional thing. It's the business of the game, right?
But the fashion in which Dustin Byfuglien left the organization, I'm not going to say it damaged them. It hurt the organization and what they were about to do. It wasn't a clean break. And the way Andrew left, it was like, well, we can't get a contract, and so we're not in the playoffs. We're going to get what we can for you, and blah, blah, blah. And the money's too much for us or the commitment, so we're moving on. He left them high and dry. And I think that'll be bygones will be bygones. And I know a lot of Dustin Byfuglien fans, which the whole province is. Correct. But you can't forget that from a hockey standpoint. And there were guys in that locker room who were like, what the? That was the summer they had to sign Laine and Connor, and it took till training camp. That was the summer that they did not sign Ben Sherratt because they had enough demand and they wanted to spend money on Laine and Connor. Mm-hmm. And then one day into training camp, and he's like, I'm done. And then as Cheveldayoff, who rarely tells us anything, told us about a year later, well, this is what happened. It was a nonstop back and forth of, are you going to have surgery? Are you not? Do you want to play again? Do you not? Into October, until the news came, which was news to the Jets at the time, he had surgery on his own. And then, of course, he never did after all that play again.
Yeah.
And I love the aloofness and the fly by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, it's like part of his
DNA
aura.
that Dustin Byfuglien is. I think that makes him super cool, and I think most of us should live life a little bit more like that. But when you're running a business or a hockey team and you get left high and dry like that, it's not good. It's not professional, and it really set that franchise back.
The fans still they've long forgiven him.
They're like, we love him.
I'll say this: I made a mistake. We didn't talk about when he was at the Kenora Bass Invitational. He finished 25th there.
Yeah.
And I just kind of was like, we were getting some text message from people, and I always appreciate it, saying, oh, hey, Buff's here. And I was kind of like, he's at a fishing tournament. Like I didn't.
Well, that's all he does anymore. Yeah. So it's not unusual.
I didn't think it was much of a story, but I will tell you this. It was, I think, maybe the biggest off the ice Winnipeg Jet story all summer long. It was all over the place.
The fans love him. I get it.
Every publication that covers hockey was talking about Dustin Byfuglien at this Kenora Bass Invitational tournament. And to me, it was like, he's at a fishing tournament, big deal. But I honestly should have made more of a big deal about it because the fans really cared.
Absolutely adore him.
Yeah.
They love him.
Yeah.
They're probably his favorite Jet of all time, as most fans.
Yeah.
If you had to say who's your favorite Jet of all time, it's probably him. And I'm not trying to rag on him, and I don't think he doesn't deserve like some honoring and jersey up there as well. But I'm just saying that you always have to remember that wasn't, I don't know how to say it any less professional. It wasn't cool. There are guys in that locker room that you left high and dry, and there was an organization that cap-wise could have used that money, and then the back and forth, and then you went and got, and I get it, that's him. It's what makes him so an enigma, right?
Yeah.
But it's not cool because it set the franchise back. I mean, take any $8 million, $9 million defenseman on any team right now, any team, and go to training camp and a day in have him say, I'm done.
Well, Blake Wheeler was on the show, and he said that was a big turning point for him. When he looks back on on moments in his career, as Byfuglien leaving, and all the pressure was on him. I mean, they were both sort of, at that moment, Ladd had left, and sort of the leadership of the locker room was on the two of them, and all of a sudden half of it left, and I think Blake felt like he had to carry too much on his shoulders. And
then when I heard it went in October and then November, and you're kind of like, and then at that point, you're just like, I can't make a trade here. I can't fill this role. We have nobody in the organization. That point, you're probably pretty desperate. While you're extremely upset, going, can you please come back and play? Like, I can't fill this hole. And then to find out, at least a quarter way into the season that it's not going to be filled.
Yeah. Speaking of defensemen, we'll get to that in just a second. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon hotline. Open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15. Only at BP. The number one caller will be awarded a $50 gift certificate to Boston Pizza on Friday. The U.S. is getting a step closer to building out its roster ahead of the 2026 Olympics in Milan Cortina, Italy. Am I saying that correctly, Jim? I know you have a very Italian... you have a big Italian background.
Well, I love Robert De Niro.
Yeah. Milan Cortina, is that correct?
Milan Cortina. That was a little too
They
Spanish.
sing. They say, it was a Kramer said they sing. Everything is a song.
If Nick Ziff from Nicolinos is listening right now, he wants. Well, getting back to yesterday, he wants to fight us.
Well,
stop butchering my language.
Let Nick know that the all-you-can-eat pasta bowl is starting August 25th. Just let him know about that.
Nick, you have us down for a free meal. We'll discuss it with you as long as you want.
I went there not too long ago. You know what? I'll move on. It was good. It was good.
It's always good.
On Tuesday, today, the U.S. Hockey announced a list of 44 player invites to the country's men's Olympic orientation camp. Forwards, Matt Boldy, Cole Caulfield, Logan Cooley, Jack Eichel, Connor Garland, Austin Matthews, the Kachuk brothers, Tage Thompson, amongst other big names. Kyle Connor also on that list. On defense, Brock Faber, Adam Fox, Luke Hughes, Quinn Hughes, Noah Hannafin, Seth Jones, Charlie McAvoy, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, Zach Rowinski, amongst those names, as well as Neal Pionk.
That is a loaded decor.
Oh, yeah. Again, I don't think the Canadians always seem to come out on top in these tournaments. But I think the Americans are, again, as we were going into the Four Nations face-off, they're the most balanced team.
I think it's fair to say that Canada keeps coming out on top when they're not the favorite or the best lineup.
Yeah, which
is what makes a Canadian.
Well, I think the U.S. has the best.
We find a way.
I think the U.S. has the best team, but the Canadians are the Canadians, and they have the best stars. And also, of course, in goal, Joey Decord, Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, Jeremy Swayman. No Thatcher Demko, but he's been so injured lately. But he,
no John Gibson.
Yeah.
Long in the tooth, but
Neal Pionk was sort of a surprise to many. I was on
not
X.
To you.
Well, not to me, no, but on X. This is the biggest outrage, the most ridiculous decision ever made in the history of U.S. hockey. This is not a surprise. Neal Pionk is one of the most respected defensemen in the National Hockey League. When teams play the Winnipeg Jets, they are very aware of Neal Pionk. He is an excellent, excellent defenseman.
For everybody who thought he wasn't worth $7 million a year, he is. He's worth $7 million a year, and he will be for the next 3 to 4 years. And the goal is, over those 3 to 4 years, to have Salamonson in the 3-4 pairing and Neal Pionk on your 5-6.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have some really depth right side.
Yeah.
But right now, he's in that top 4 and on the second power play, and he will remain there for probably 3 more years. He's that good. And again, we take the 1 year or the 1 year and a half or 2 years of average play, blah, blah. Like, I really think what you've watched here with Neal Pionk is what it takes to be an NHL player. You've seen the good years. You've seen the bad years. You've seen a guy try to figure it out. And then what did he do? He got really consistent at what he does. Neal Pionk is at his best when he doesn't try to do more than he needs to do. And he's figured that out, right? And I think he's such a valuable asset to this team. And I think being invited. Now, do I think he'll make Team USA? No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll do that. But I think I'm not even going to say good for him because he deserves this. It's the right choice to bring him to a 44-player orientation camp. He's that good.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And it's fine to say he's not Olympic good. When it's down to 22 players, it's okay to say, or 23, it's okay to say he's not that good. But he is one of the top 50 players right now in the U.S.
204-780-6868. Let's take a break. Let's come back.
In the defense, of course.
Yeah, let's give away that VIP car wash to my good friends at Josh. Well, actually, I didn't give a hint at who's going to end up winning this thing.
Josh Morrissey?
No, he's playing for Canada. No, the name is, it's not exactly Josh, but it's 4 letters and starts with a J. The guy I'm going to give this VIP car wash to. We'll be right back.
With Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Miss your chance. Get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets at noon. Hotline open 24/7, 204-780-6868. Coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza.
BP.
Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. I'm actually going to go there for lunch.
Great pasta there as well.
I'm going to BP. Oh, yeah.
I love the Boston Brood for lunch.
Oh, baby. Don't even get me started.
No onions, though. You people in the onions.
Oh, I love onions. Raw onions. I love raw onions on sound. Oh, I want them to sting, Jim. I want to sting.
Are you a vampire? Are you dead inside? No, vampires hate onions. Or do they like them?
It's
garlic.
Garlic.
I don't know my mythology.
You're thinking of garlic.
I'm okay with not
Speaking
knowing.
of Neal Pionk, West End Joe says, hey, Cam and Jim, don't forget that Game 7 against the Blues where the Jets were playing with 5 defensemen, and Pionk played like an absolute beast of a game. That one from West End Joe. Yeah,
we also got a text about how he shut down McDavid in that sweep of the Oilers a couple of years ago.
Look at how Neal Pionk plays in the playoffs. That's all you need to know about him.
And it's also what you need to know when you say they need more size.
Yeah.
When they need more physicality and all that. Neal Pionk's a prime example of you can do it if you, and I don't mean shut down McDavid. I think he had 2 points per game on average, but if you can contain him, you're not going to shut him down.
But let's give it to the VIP texter, the VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method, 690 St. Anne's Road. This from John. Hey guys, Neal is well deserved of a shot to make the U.S. team compared to some other Americans like Noah Hannafin. Pionk performed way better at all metrics than he did last season. Hope he gets a spot. Andrew Ladd, by the way, is pure class. So congratulations, John. You are a VIP texter. You're going to the greatest place in the city, Winnipeg.
That's a great take, actually. I did like the way Pionk played in the playoffs more than Noah Hannafin. Now, I still think Noah Hannafin's a great defenseman, but I thought he had a rough play.
Do you want my rage bait post on X of the day? That's just going to get me so angry.
For those of you who like to be angry online, Cam has something for you.
Lane Hudson snubbed from U.S. Hockey's 44 named Olympic orientation camp invite list after one really good season with the Habs, and I'm not taking anything away from him. It's only because he's a Hab. This is a total rage bait post.
Only because he's a Hab.
And it's meant to incite the Habs and people who hate the Habs like me. This is ridiculous.
Well, he did win the Calder.
Yeah, but you're going to invite him to this Olympic camp? I said he's an ex-Surge.
Not ahead of Neal Pionk.
He's as talented as...
He's not as good as Neal Pionk. If Neal Pionk was a rookie, would he have won the Calder? I bet he would have.
Nobody hopes that Lane Hudson is
For those of you who like to be upset online, we have something
in the
for you.
world wishes that Lane Hudson has a bad season more than me.
It's the greatest line Hustler ever told me. It's when he was on air and he said, for those of you who like to be upset online, I have something for you.
Jim Told, take it at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much, Jeffrey Forte. See ya.